Just decided that I was going to go live with his family in the middle of Italy for 3 months. My job was to teach them English. Yeah. I know you're talking about me. I heard you say the American girl. How'd you even know how to flip somebody off? You're 10 years old.
Take the skills you already have and figure out how you can turn that into travel.
You could see it erupting. That was definitely one of the hardest parts of the trip.
Like lack of community.
Yeah.
Do you feel like with your family your boundaries were tested?
I need you to please stop and speak in English because I can't help you.
You're like, I can tell you're upset.
I think that's what helped me to grow.
LJ, welcome to the How's Your Trip podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes, me too. So Lauren spent a summer.
Yeah, like 3 months.
3 months as an au pair in an au pair in Italy. And I just want to get into all the things.
All the things.
So give a general overview, like how and why and what and who.
So I knew I wanted to study abroad, but really didn't have any need for credits. And I had a friend who had been an au pair twice before, so I got breakfast with her and was just kind of like, give me the lowdown. Did you like it? What would you do different? Tell me how you get set up. And she had gone with 2 different experiences, like one big city, one small city, and loved her small city experience. Basically, what you do is you log on to this website. I'm pretty sure it's called Au Pair World. And it's like online dating for nannies. So you put in your info, like how old you are, how many kids you'd be comfortable with, what countries you are even interested in going to, smoking or non-smoking, like all the different things. And you fill out this application. You basically get matched with other families. And from there, you can send out your application. Families can look at you and say, oh, we want to send her an application to be our nanny. And from there, you just kind of can chat on the website. And that's how I found my family in a small town in Italy. It's called Perugia, if you've ever heard of it. It's right in between Rome and Florence. And we hopped on a Skype call eventually and just decided that I was going to go live with his family in the middle of Italy for 3 months. And definitely a leap, but such a cool experience and really neat summer.
Yeah, I think that first of all, I think this trip did change your life. Like, I think that you
absolutely
changed as a person, which we're going to get into. But had you ever even been to Italy?
I had been once.
Okay.
Summer going into freshman year of high school. I was with a school trip and we did Rome and Venice. So I'd been to Italy before, but nothing that pulled me towards Italy. There was a bunch of different families in different countries that I was looking at, and it just happened to kind of feel like the right fit. It was 2 girls, 6 and 10. It's like, okay, I think I can handle this.
So you weren't even set on Italy?
No.
Like you would have gone somewhere else.
I had put in France, Spain, Italy. I know I did those for sure because I think I wanted to go somewhere different.
Why au pair? Why not work on a yacht or house sit or something like that?
Honestly, hadn't even considered those. I just knew somebody who had gone and grew up babysitting and working in a preschool. So it just kind of felt like the right gig, I guess.
Well, and that's something I'm always trying to get through people's mind is take the skills you already have and figure out how you can turn that into travel, which is exactly what you did.
It's here, I'll pay for my flight there, and then got put up meals, got paid a little bit each week.
So I want to talk about that. So what did they cover while you were there?
While I was there, I lived with them. They covered, if we went on a trip together, they covered my hotel room or Airbnb, whatever that looked like. I ended up flying with the girls somewhere. They covered my flight there, and then got 60 euros a week to, buy myself a Twix bar or something at the grocery store, or do a little excursion.
Did they cover breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
If I was with them, yes.
Okay.
If I was out exploring the city, it was kind of on me if I wanted to pick up my own lunch or own dinner, but I was always invited to sit and eat dinner with them.
And what did your like living situation look like there?
So we were actually in 2 different places primarily. At their house in Perugia. It was kind of like a flat, like apartment style almost. Couple different levels. We were on like the 3rd or the 4th floor, but then we had that whole floor, and it was really set up like a single family style home. Like walked into a living room. There's a dining room, kitchen. Back down the hallway, you've got laundry room, bathrooms, the girls' room, master, and then I had like my own little suite. I didn't have a kitchen in there, but like bedroom, my own bathroom.
So you had to cover like all like snacks?
They had snacks there,
and
but
you could like
eat. That I could still eat. Like I didn't feel weird eating their food or anything. Cool. But if I wanted like a candy bar or like I bought like a $7 jar of peanut butter one time and just like kept it as like my little
or
stock.
whatever. And your transportation while you were there, did you have any kind of transportation?
Mainly the bus system.
Wait, sorry. You didn't even talk about the second place that you guys lived. And then we can talk about transportation. Yeah. Sorry. I think I cut you off.
We were at their apartment for 5 or 6 weeks. Yeah. And then we took a family holiday for another 5 or 6 weeks. And that was on an island called Salina, which was a process to get to. We drove down to Naples. And then from there we hopped on a ferry. And one of those giant ferries that you like drive your car onto. And then we got off and had a room to stay on. Wow. And it took us there overnight. And there's like 7 little islands there off of the coast of Sicily. Okay. So 7 little islands all right next to each other. And they have their like holiday home there. So is it
like a beach house kind of?
Basically, they had an upstairs and a downstairs. Okay. And they actually were renting out the bottom floor as like an Airbnb. Nice. While we were there. So we had the top floor. They had a main living space. And then there was kind of a back patio and almost like a guest house. Like I had an actual like kitchen, bathroom, bedroom there. And that was great kind of having my own little space. Yeah. And then we actually switched to a different part of that island while we were there, and I was in an Airbnb like guest house situation. The parents actually left after 2 weeks, and so it was just the aunt.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so the aunt had the girls mainly. And then I had the guest house, the Airbnb, wherever we were during the rest of our time there, and I would like hike up the hill to the aunt's house, and we would sit, and my job was to teach them English, basically. So we would read the Harry Potter books together in English, or we would go through a workbook or something like that. Yeah. And would hang out up there, kind of do whatever they wanted to do for the day, have dinner with them, and then walk back down to my Airbnb. How Mamma Mia
of you, hiking up and down the hill.
I know. It was like really rough in it.
Did anyone in the family speak English?
Yes. Okay. So mom and dad spoke great English. Okay. They were both in like facets of the medical field.
Got you.
So naturally, like they need to speak a lot of English. And the girls, the 6-year-old spoke really great English. She had always grown up with an English speaking au pair, and the 10-year-old did as well. She started English a little bit later, but we like if there was like high tension or like a lot of emotion behind something, like
what? There was high tension? There was emotion? There was negativity? What? And you're summer in Italy?
If you've ever worked with kids, there's emotion. So
so funny.
If there was anything like that going on, then it was like, okay, I need you to like please stop and speak in English because I can't help you. Like
you're like, I can tell you're upset. I can tell you're mad.
I can tell. I don't know what we're upset about though. And then grandma spoke English. She said my accent was a little too thick to understand.
No, it was your fault.
So yeah, we did a lot of Google Translate together, and I would like send her a Google translated text or something. She'd be like, "Oh, your Italian is getting so good." It's like, "Thank you."
That's amazing.
But yeah, everybody spoke English, and a lot of people that I ran into did or would like try to understand my like terrible Italian.
Were the towns that you stayed in, were those big cities? Or?
They were all small.
They were really small. Yeah. Okay.
So where we were kind of like on the mainland between Rome and Florence, smaller, but still like a city vibe. We kind of stayed on the outskirts, could walk and take a bus up to the main city center. There was like museums and restaurants and things. And then when we were on the island, we were in like a much smaller city. It was, it's a dormant volcano, so it's very steep. And so you've just kind of got like little pockets of
Was
cities.
there ever any concern, maybe this is a stupid question, but was there ever any concern like this volcano is going to erupt one day?
In the back of my mind was kind of like, oh, I'm hiking this volcano this morning. Hope it really is like dormant.
Right. Like dormant volcanoes can be not dormant, right? That's wild.
So you could see Stromboli, one of the other islands that has an active volcano on it. And once it got dark at night, you could see it like erupting. So it was like, I hope that's never me. And like I was on Stromboli one night and like it was on the news that it was erupting. Like nobody was evacuating, but it was kind of like this could get bad fast.
I just don't think of volcanoes in Italy.
No.
Maybe that's a silly thought.
And it was down by like Sicily. And then you've got like Pompeii and stuff. But
right. Okay, back to transportation. Yes. How did you get around?
In Salina, I pretty much walked. But in Perugia, bus. Which I was not very good at. Yeah. The first time I tried to take the bus, I thought the bus like was gonna see me at the stop like they do here and be like, we're gonna stop and make sure people want to get off or on. They don't do that. You like flag down the bus like you're flagging down a taxi. Them to. You're like, please come get me. And so this bus came by and I was like, oh, it's me. And so I'm like standing on the curb with the girls and it just doesn't stop. I was like, maybe I got the wrong number. Like, I don't know. And so we did not go to the town square that day because I missed the bus. I was like, why don't you know how to work the bus system? Like, I thought that I did. I didn't know I had to flag them down like a cab. But I learned.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. So what, were you like a Monday through Friday or 7 days a week or?
Basically 7 days.
Okay.
Sometimes I would wake up on a Saturday and then be like, oh, they're regular babysitters coming over today. Do whatever you want with your day.
So you didn't know until like right before? Like oh, wow.
It would be like, you can go somewhere today. Or,
that makes your off time so hard to plan though.
Yeah. I wish that I could have been like, would have been more clear on the front end of like wanting to know when my days off were. Cause I easily could have hopped on a train and gone to Florence for the day and come back if I had left early enough. I like moseyed out of bed at 9 o'clock and we're like, go somewhere today. Where?
You're like, I have no plans. Right. I haven't thought this through.
So I went to Assisi one day, which was cool. And just got to like walk around the city and look at the chapels and stuff. And we went on a trip with another family that got cut short. And so since the family had off work and everything anyways, they're like, just go to Rome for a few days. It's like, okay.
Say less.
Yeah. And so they took me to the bus station, bused to Rome, which was like 2 hours. And I had a friend who was like, oh, my sister's an au pair in Rome right now. Like, y'all should connect if you can. And so since I was going, we ended up connecting there and like hung out for my whole time, which was really cool because she was going through a similar experience and she was on the more like residential side of Rome and got to take me through all those like little neighborhoods that you probably wouldn't see if you were just trying to like hit the ground running.
Right. Was she the only friend that you made?
I made another friend when we were on holiday. She was so cool. We were about the same age and my girls and her sister were friends. Okay. And like they go to the same island every summer. Yeah. See each other, hang out. So she took me to her favorite island one day and it was so cool and it was so fun to be with somebody who's like, this is my favorite pastry shop and things like that. And we just got to talking. I was like, how'd you like learn this perfect English? She's like, I watch YouTube. Like I just watch
that is things so on YouTube. Common, which blows my mind. Like maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't feel like I could watch like an Italian show every day and just learn Italian.
No,
but like I hear so many people, like some of my friends learned English through Disney Channel and YouTube, and I'm like, how do you pick up on it?
understand
that. Just
how
like
she did
we
it.
are so blessed and spoiled at the same time to like not have to even worry about that.
Right.
Blows my mind.
I know. I was like, that is incredible that you are having this like perfect conversation with me.
Yeah.
And learned it from watching TV shows.
So were Rome and this friend, did you make them early on in the trip or towards the end?
Pretty early on, probably within my first like month. We didn't get to like hang out obviously the rest of my time there,
right,
but we got to like text a lot and just like talk about our
experiences.
And
it was probably just nice to have someone understand what you were going through,
right.
Like good and bad. Like you had someone, because it would be so hard, I think, to be going through that and not have anyone to relate to. Mm-hmm. Like, do you think that even just on a normal week, that was kind of tough to deal with?
That was definitely one of the hardest parts of the trip.
Like lack of community.
Yeah. You just don't realize how much you rely on like your friends, your roommates for like normal social interaction, at the end of the day, or like a text or a phone call. And I was on like the complete opposite time zone, and just to have like in-person friendship with people, even if it was like super brief, was really important, and feeling like comfortable and a little bit more at home. But that's the big thing that I missed while being there. Yeah.
Do you feel like there were any other outlets that you could have used to find community there that you didn't? Like, do you have any regrets on how, like, should you have gone to a pub or something? Like, I don't even know where you would have found other people to build community.
Since I was in such smaller towns, I think it still would have been really hard. Yeah. But I think I also could have put myself out there a little bit more. And
but like where?
I'm just going to go out, but also,
like,
am I really going to go out by myself in like a foreign country? Like,
that might not
maybe,
be. But I remember even looking for a church for you, and like there was nowhere.
Like nothing. Yeah.
Like you just, so it's like, I don't even know that you can live with that regret, because there wasn't really another option in the part of Italy that you were in.
Yeah. Like not a regret, but something that I wish I would have had. I think it would have made the experience a little bit different. Yeah. But on the flip side of that, I think that's what helped me to grow so much, was having, like, I was truly by myself, like trying to figure out myself.
Do you feel like you're an independent person?
Like, definitely independent. I used to not put myself out there as much. And I think after this trip where like I'm not forced, but if I want friends, I'm going to have to like go and make them. Again, and there was like a college in the town. Like, I think I could have put myself out there more. Yeah. But I mean, even just like going to dinner by myself and like sitting at a table alone and like eating a pizza and having like an Aperol spritz, like for me, that was putting myself out there. Or like going on an excursion by myself, talking to these older women on their girls trip, like for me, like that kind of stuff was putting myself out there.
I mean, that is hard. Like for a normal, like I have to eat by myself sometimes, and it's still awkward. Like it's just an awkward thing to do.
Yeah, it's just like an awkward thing to do.
But it's like, it's part of growing up, and it's part of maturing, and it's part of being confident in who you are as a person.
Right.
Do you feel like you were as independent before this trip, or do you feel like that this trip really changed that?
I feel like I've always been independent, but I think that I grew in like other ways 100%. Through the trip.
How so?
Definitely in like putting myself out there.
Yes.
Also in just like my beliefs and my morals and like what I stand for. Like, you're meeting a lot of people from a ton of different backgrounds who are like asking you like, why do you go to church? Like, what's the point? And like things like that, where it's like, okay, I really have to like be firm in what I believe in, and just being firm on my stances and other things in life. Like, I'm alone with this family that I haven't met before. You know, do I need to put my foot down and say like I need a break, and like just things like that.
Do you feel like with your family your boundaries were tested?
Maybe not like tested. Like they were great, and I think it takes a lot for a family to like, yes, I was going across the world to like live with them, but they were bringing somebody into their home to take care of their kids. Yeah. And I think that's a really vulnerable spot to be into. Yeah. And I just think there was like a lack of communication of like what I was getting into, I guess. Like, I was really there to teach the girls English. And in my head, it was like, okay, yeah, we're going to speak English, but like they're going to take a break. I'm going to take a break and we'll be fine. But it was really supposed to be English like workbooks and note cards and reading together and watching English movies the whole time, which I didn't really know on the front end. And then, you know, it led to a miscommunication of like, okay, why are you here then? And I had to kind of reassess and be like, oh, this is what they want me to change, you know? So things like that where like it might have caused some tension, but it's just because we hadn't communicated.
Yeah, I was going to point out too, like there's a difference between knowing how to speak English and knowing how to teach English, just like math or anything else. Like you're not a teacher. And like at this point, you had done way less with kids. Now, obviously you've worked in schools now, but at that point you hadn't worked in any schools, right?
Mm-mm.
And that wasn't in your, that like wasn't.
I was still a preschool. I had been a preschool teacher.
Okay.
Before I went, but
like that
not
wasn't
like
your
ABCs.
career path.
It was a little bit more like daycare.
Right. That wasn't your career path. That wasn't your education path. Like that wasn't your, I don't want to say skill set, but that wasn't like your forte.
Right. And I was also their first summer nanny. They'd only had school year nannies. So very clearly like, this is the English homework we're doing tonight.
Yeah, right.
Whereas these girls were on summer break. Like, who wants to do work on summer break?
Oh my gosh. So these girls had nannies year round?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was their first American au pair and their first summer au pair.
Yeah. Do you feel like the parents knew their kids very well? I know families that have had nannies and know their kids just as well as parent would. And then I've met families through some of my lines of work of like, they don't know their kids at all.
I do think that they knew them pretty well. Yeah. Like I didn't see a big change of behavior like when they were home versus when they weren't home. Yeah.
Awesome. Did you like the girls?
They were sweet. We all have our moments, right? But overall, I think we got along well. Like I was there on the 4th of July and we made like a flag cookie together and like they thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
And in my house, we've always like really celebrated birthdays.
Yeah.
And so when the 10-year-old's birthday came around and turned 11, got to ask her like, do you want me to bake you a cake? And she had never really had brownies.
Wait, so that's so sweet.
I got to like bake her brownies and we made icing together and we held her like a little birthday party, like a spa day, and bought like cucumbers and stuff and like painted each other's nails. So we definitely had fun. Yeah. We all have our moments, especially like I lived with them, you know, like we didn't get a break from each other. Yeah.
What do you think was like your best moment with them? And what do you think was like your hardest moment with them? The girls specifically, not just like Italy.
The birthday party was super fun. I feel like
that's such a sweet
that was like memory. A fun memory.
I feel like that we got to make together. Also hold that memory for so long.
Yeah, I think so too. Like we just had a lot of fun. And that day of we like went shopping together to buy all the ingredients and stuff. So I think that was really special. And there was one day like towards the end where it was like we're all seeing a lot of each other, and I had gone to this other island with the friend that I had made. Yeah. And came back and the girls were waiting for me on the dock and like ran and jumped on like onto my arms like little koalas and like I don't know, that was sweet. I was like, oh, we do like each other. Like, that's yay.
So sweet. So refreshing.
Yeah, you're like, oh, thank goodness. As far as hard moments, when the mom left and we were with the grandma and aunt, I think that just put a different like relationship on us almost. Yeah. So I was the one having to carry out like mom's wishes from hundreds of miles away.
Because that's still who you worked for at the end of the day.
Right. So like, no, the girls can't go to this 10 o'clock movie in this other city on the island, even though their friends are going. Yeah. And then be like, no, mom said you can't go. And then she would call mom like, Lauren said I can't go. That kind of stuff. Yeah. Or like little fights with their peers on the square. I was like, how did you even know how to flip somebody off? You're 10 years old. So
you're like, no.
Right. Or like at the fair, they were having like all their summer festivals. And so the fair came through and mom was like, don't let her buy anything. The younger one was like, okay, I won't let her buy anything. And, you know, as 6-year-olds do when they're told that they can't buy the balloon.
Meltdown.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like carried kicking and screaming out of that fair. Like, I hate you. I'm like, I know, I'm sorry.
I hate me too.
I want the balloon for you.
Right. If I could, I would, but I don't work for you.
Right. Even though it's like those little things where it's like, okay, if I was your babysitter for the day, whatever, I'd buy you the balloon.
Right.
But if it's little things like that piling up where like your mom has said, don't do it.
Yeah.
Then,
I remember getting the good, the bad, the ugly Snapchats from you the entire trip. Them all. It was so fun to keep up. The little
it's like a roller coaster of emotions.
Was such an energy ball, like all the time. Like she was so funny. She kept me so entertained. Have you ever talked to them since?
I've talked to the mom some. Yeah. Like, Merry Christmas. Hope y'all are doing well. And like she'll send me pictures of the kids or something, or like she'll like my Instagram story or I'll swipe up on hers, but I haven't really talked to the girls.
Do you feel like you learned any Italian?
I learned some Italian. Did? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's impressive.
Before I went and was all up in Duolingo.
Yep.
And then the girls really helped me. I think like that was a good like trade-off. Like, okay, I'll teach you guys. Like, we'll go through English together a little bit. Like, we'll watch an English movie. Mm-hmm. Their favorite movie that summer was Space Jam, and that's something that I'm really proud of.
Love it.
I was like, okay, we'll watch Space Jam, and then you guys teach me some Italian. So they would teach me like how to conjugate and like he, she, like her, it, those kind of stuff. Or like bathroom and you know, your basics to like get you through. And they were always so helpful. If I was out shopping with them, you could hear them be like, this is the American girl, like she can't speak Italian. I was like, okay, I understood that part.
Did they regularly talk Italian in front of you?
Yeah. If like we were out like shopping or something, or if they said something that like they didn't want me to hear, I'm like, I understand enough to know that like
Also, when you switched to Italian and we've been having a conversation.
Like, I know you're talking about me. I heard you say the American girl.
Right. If you could go back and do it all again in that season of life, would you?
I think I would.
Would you, if you could go back now in the season of life you're in now, like tomorrow, would you go?
I was thinking about that, and like, I really think that I would.
Again? Like for a second time, you would do it again?
I think I would.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Like, it's just so unique to be able to say that you've just kind of like up and gone by yourself. I mean, I feel like for Americans, I mean, I stayed in a hostel in Rome, and like every girl and guy in that room was there by themselves. Like nobody was together. They're like, oh yeah, I just graduated. I'm here. Don't know where I'm going next. Like, that was a super normal thing for them. But
so normal.
To like hop on a plane to Italy by myself for 3 months, I feel like. 100%. Is it a normal thing?
I really loved your whole experience. I think it's so unique. I don't know. Well, I know like maybe one other person that's done that. Like I know a lot of people have studied abroad in their life, traveled abroad, worked abroad, but like that is such a niche thing to do. Yeah.
I haven't met many people who have gone and done that since I've come back.
Do you feel like the transition back to America was hard at all?
I was ready to come home.
Yeah.
I moved my flight up by like 3 or 4 days.
I was about to say, I thought you moved it. I thought you came home early. Yeah.
I came home 3 or 4 days early. And so I kind of came to the mom one night and was like, hey, I'm going to switch my flight home.
Yeah.
I have things that I forgot about. Like I really did book it for the wrong date and I like need to get back.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, what a shame. We were going to like take you and the girls to Rome and like have a fun farewell. It's like, well, that would have been nice to know before I switched my flight.
Yeah.
And I like might have stayed for that.
Did you guys leave on good terms?
Yeah. And actually that morning, the bus that I was supposed to take or the train to the bus, whatever I was doing, I was doing the math. I was like, I'm not going to get to the airport in time for an international flight. I was going to get there like an hour and a half. I was like, not in the Rome airport. Like, so the night before, I mean, like I literally knocked on her bedroom door at like 1 a.m. and was like, I can't take that bus. They ended up taking me earlier and I bought a new bus ticket and was there with like more time. But like sent me a video of the girls being like, ciao.
That's so sweet. See you soon. Okay, you want to play a little of this or that?
Sure.
Okay. Perugia or the island?
The island.
The island?
Yeah.
Any particular reason?
From the island, you can see most of the other islands.
So beautiful.
And it's just a different pace. Yeah. Like walking everywhere, walking to get your groceries and stuff like that. Like it was very relaxed, like very beachy. Got to like lay out every day. Granted, it's like rocks and not sand, but it was so cool. And I feel like that's not a place people would go. Like people will go to like, I mean, I was like in like wine country, Umbria, and so like people will go there. They might not go to Perugia, but they'll go to that area. Yeah. Whereas Salina, like, I don't think anybody's gonna hop on a plane and take a ferry to Salina. That's so I think that was like so unique.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, taking the bus or walking?
I'd rather walk. Yeah, I did walk like 3 miles home one night.
Like the bus system stresses me out.
Yeah, I like don't love. I'd rather walk. Like I know I'm gonna get there. Yeah, I got so lost on the bus one day. That's a whole nother thing.
Okay, watching Space Jam with the girls or taking them shopping?
Honestly, Space Jam. They loved it so much. They would like sit there and start to like sing the song, and then we'd be like walking around town, be like, "It's a Space Jam." Like
being so proud of that.
It was so funny.
Okay. Might be controversial. The 6-year-old or the 10-year-old?
I can't.
You're not a parent.
I can't.
You can. My favorite was the 6-year-old. She was freaking hilarious.
She was so funny. They were both so fun in different ways.
That's a very politically correct and fair answer.
They were like very different from each other. Yeah. So there were like different things about both of them that are like, I love this about you.
Yeah. That's fair. What kind of advice would you give someone who's looking to do something like this?
It's a good question. So I think Au Pair World was a great place to start. I felt really comfortable like messaging with all the families on there. Get a contract, make a contract. I did not. And that's something that I really regret. Like the notes, like I took notes during our first meeting on like, you know, what my hours might be, what my pay might be. And those things were different when I got there. And I didn't have that in writing like anywhere, you know? Right. So get a contract with your hours and your pay. Yeah, those are my
I think that's very, I think setting the expectations fairly is such great advice. So where to next for LJ?
So I just got back from like one of my favorite trips that I've been on. So I don't have anything like super exciting. Yeah. But my next trip that I have planned is just down to Palm Beach, Florida for a weekend.
That'll be so fun.
Yeah.
Have so much fun. Okay, I love you. Thanks for coming on the podcast.